Good morning, everybody. It's Cowboy. What's up? I'm hoping that you're all having a great 2025 so far. It's been a wild ride for me, had a lot going on. And so yesterday I was unable to do a show due to a family and personal matter. And then we had a technical difficulty. Via the Guerilla was going to sub in for me, but then, yeah, these things happen. Let's just say in YouTube, these things happen. All right. So, interesting look here. Let me go over to the comments, make sure people are in. Okay, good. Now, Bitcoin did rally up, and my prediction was super, super accurate up until it hit about 103,000. And that was a resistance, and it rejected there. So, this prior prediction is going to have to go away. I will leave it up because, I like to keep record of how well things went. But for the moment, there was a pull back down to what appears to be some liquidity. So, what I want to do is, first of all, warn you all that today is FOMC minutes. And I think that's going to happen. Let's take a look at exactly when that's going to happen. Now, what are FOMC minutes, first of all? Those are when we find out the conversations behind the scene that the Federal Reserve had when they announced their rate last week. So you're talking about, let me see, what time is it? 5, 6. So 5.5 hours from now, that information is going to be released. It'll be hyper analyzed. There is a decent chance that the important people already know what was on those, and it's not quite as important as what happened during the press conference. However, it can affect the markets. So whatever we predict can really be thrown off. And it might be that this pullback down might have just been a way to gather a little liquidity before it blasts off. Might be that way, might not be that way. Everything is an estimation. Nobody gets them all right. What I am going to do, though, is take a look at the liquidity as it exists right now. And I'm going to continue to monitor that liquidity up until the time. Well, I mean, I do it continuously no matter what, but especially today up until that point of the FOMC minutes. So there's liquidity down at 94,000 and a little bit up at 98,000. Pretty much a simple look, pretty simple way to look at it. So 94,098. So 94 is probably where it's going to continue down to. Just looking at price action, not even looking at the algos. And you see I had a contingency for price to head down exactly to 94. And that's because of the liquidity having been there. Now it looks like price went up to maybe swipe some higher liquidity that was, around 102. I wasn't looking at the liquidity at that time. I think a lot of people went long, added to the liquidity, and price went ahead and dove down to grab it, which is pretty typical. And due to the family issues I've been dealing with, and don't worry, the Cowboy will be fine. Just really had some things happen. Those of you who are close know what that is, and everything, like I said, will be fine. But I wasn't really paying attention to what happened the last couple of days. So these things happen. Life gets in the way, and it's the kind of stuff where I would have taken a day off if I had a job. So actually, I probably would have taken a week off. All right, good. So the top side liquidity is at 98,000. So if there is a bounce, there's a really good chance price would float up to 98,000, which is pretty much where this blue line is right here. So I can just move this over and do that. And that's where I had price heading to on a bounce. So it looks like the bounce that I called just happened a little bit later, happened after price grabbed a grabbed a little liquidity topside. Let me go ahead and take a look at the algos. A little vulnerable right now on the daily. So it might be that we see just a little bit of movement down on the daily. FOMC minutes might be what the market uses to supercharge a move back up. But at the moment, we might be just seeing a pullback. It could be for hours. It could be for days. It could be for weeks. I would bet on days. What I think is really going on is that looking at liquidity from a price action standpoint, not the Kingfisher, where you're actually looking at liquidity that's on the chart from the perpetual exchanges. But what you're really looking at here is where price came down to grab liquidity and bounced up. And I'm going to kind of delete some of these prior notes here so that it's not so messy. But you can see in particular, there are a lot of wicks in this area, right? And I'm going to make it a little easier to see here. I'm going to zoom in. But you can see how price kept coming down here and getting pushed up. And it seems that that's a common theme right around 93,000, which makes a lot of sense based on some of the things that we know over at Algo Factory. So it might be the price comes down to that 93, 94, grabs liquidity and gets pushed right back up like it has happened. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12 times. So anywhere from 10 to 12 times, depending on how you look at things, this has happened. And I think that that many moves like that, it's a decent probability that it will happen again. As price moves, we'll be keeping an eye on it. And I don't make trades based on such simple metrics, but it does help me sort of guide myself through what I might do based on future price action. We got Lisa Gray. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the kind words. And I do appreciate that. And we're going to do great. My family has got a secret weapon, and that's me. I make sure things get done and handled. So let me take a look over okay, good. I'm just looking at notes, making sure nobody's asked any questions over in the private live lab. I'm going to take a look at Solana. So Solana, of course, is going to pull down like Bitcoin, and Solana is probably going to mimic Bitcoin in many ways. It tends to be a bit more volatile, but it is now in a prior liquidity zone, right? This back and forth right here has created a bit of a floor, a bit of a place for price to go to. Because price likes to go towards these things. And then once it has gotten what it needs, or once the rest of the market begins to move, then it will move too. So we're going to see what happens with Solana on that. We got a couple minutes left, so I'm going to jump into the Forex charts. The euro doing really close to what I said it would do. I did expect for it to head up and then down. I had a contingency for it to go grab liquidity up here, and it pretty much did that. It just did it a little earlier than I thought, and now it appears to be heading back down to where I said. So pretty decent prediction. I was right. I just was a little late. I figured it would happen more according to the FOMC minutes, and it just happened on its own on the market open on Monday. So, and GBP is going to look similar. Like, oh wow, tough move on the pound. Really doing what I said it would do, though. That's still, I'm pretty happy with my prediction here. Did we get some pound news? Let me see here. USD data. Yeah, not seeing any news on the pound. Just I know we had yesterday is today Wednesday? Yeah, yesterday we had all the job openings, and it does appear that the dollar had, dollar strong makes sense. Some data came out that was stronger than expected. So that might be why we're seeing such a dramatic move on the dollar. Of course, this morning we had some dollar strong news also. That was mixed. It's kind of mixed news. So, nothing was too far off target. Looks like the unemployment change for ADP non-farm was a little below expected, less than about 12 to 13, but a little like 10%. So kind of significant. Again, I think the market was just supposed to go down this way as it stands. So we're going to jump over into the indices real quick, and then I'm going to get into the private live lab and cover everything else. We've got, this doing a lot, very close to what I predicted. The ES1, I predicted this was like a multi-week prediction. I usually only predict out about 7 days. For the kind of trading that I do, it's mostly useful to predict out for the week, but this is doing really close to what I talked about. So happy with this prediction, and that's the SP 500 futures. And I'll just stick with these. Same with the Dow. I predicted out a few weeks, and it is following more or less what I said it would do. And for the Nasdaq, the latest prediction is what seems to be the most accurate. So happy with those. Let's see here. Okay, Vaughn. Yes. Thank you very much, Vaughn. I appreciate that. And it's good to have you back in the group as well. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to the private live lab. Let me go ahead and kind of get things moving over there. In the meantime, I want everybody to head over to algofactory.tech. If you want to learn how to, if you want to learn how to do what I do, how to predict price to a very accurate level, right? Anytime you can predict price like that, anytime you can tell the future of price, you can extract money from these markets. It's just how it works. And so with that, we teach you how to do that. We teach you how to build algorithms that give you an edge on that. And if you're already a trader, you're actually also our target market. So if you're trading now and you're finding that you're maybe rotating around the same balance in your book, your portfolio is unchanging, or it's even shrinking, and you're just not really trading very successfully, come on over. I have fixed a fair amount of traders, and I have helped them really, really fix their book. It's been very interesting to do, and it's good to see people who have been trying to trade for so long, and really having a hard time getting it right, and finally getting it right. It's really good to see. So let me see here. Okay, did that wrong. Sorry, I got things started incorrectly over on the private live lab. So excuse me, everybody, while I fix that. Give me just a second here. Okay. All right, after that very boring conversation right there, I want to thank you for watching us here on the Live Lab, algofactory.tech. Learn how to trade like a hedge fund pro. And we will be back mañana iguana early in the morning. And never, ever forget, ever forget.
Join us or die.